Hey everyone, welcome to the Craft Co by Lo. I am Lo, so hello. I am excited today to be able to show you how to make this super cute farmhouse pumpkin patch sign that we have here. This can be customized in so many different ways. You can use different materials also to make this happen and also to make it your own. I have used some natural wood for these little pumpkins here. I will be going over the materials and the tools that you need if you want to follow along and do it like this. And I'll also be able, we'll be sharing what other types of materials you can use to modify this a little bit, okay? So, I will be going over the materials list, and here we go. All right, guys, let's talk materials. Everything that I'll be using will be in the description and the link and linked below. So if you have any questions on where I got any of these things, you can just take a look there and you'll see where I got everything. So here we go. And this is it. I've got my cut done already.
We've cut down all of our paint sticks and now we're ready to assemble the sign. You'll notice that at the back of each of those paint sticks, there's a ruler on there. And I'm going to use that side as the back side of the sign. If you're using stain and you don't want to see those numbers, you will have to sand those numbers off before you stain. Otherwise, if you use paint, you can just paint right over it. I don't mind the numbers, so I'm just going to continue without having to sand it. So what you're going to do is you're going to arrange your 5-gallon sticks together horizontally. And then you're going to take your 1-gallon sticks and make sure that they go across each one of those horizontal sticks vertically. You'll see that there is a little bit of an overlap, which is supposed to be like that. You can cut that down if you want to. And once you've done that, you have your sign.
All right, guys, we're back. And I am super ready to stain this thing. We've got, I've got my rag ready, I've got my wood stain, and I have also my polyurethane sealer and my foam brush as well. I think I might be using a thinner one. What you're going to need to open this up is going to be a flathead screwdriver. And you definitely want to give this stuff a really good shake before you start using it. So here we go. So we're just going to open this up, go all the way around. It's just like opening a paint can. All right, now that's done. What I'm going to do is I am going to be taking some of the stain from the cap here, and I'm just going to start going through. And now the look that I'm going for, I like it when the wood does show through a little bit. So it's not going to be this gray sun bleach color all the way through. There's definitely going to be some wood color coming through on this, okay? Here we go. I'm going to keep staining this, I'm going to stain this, and I'm going to stain the other side as well.
So I have already stained all of the sides of this sign, and now it's time to apply the polyurethane sealer. And what I'm doing is I'm applying it with a foam brush. I would definitely recommend either a foam brush or a paint brush to apply your sealer. Not so much a cloth like we used with the stain, because it will probably leave fibers on there behind, and you definitely don't want that. So we'll be applying a thin layer to all of the sides of this sign. And once that's dry, we'll be ready to add all of the pumpkins and the lettering and the rest of the embellishments that you want to put on there. And this polyurethane dries pretty quickly, So we'll be able to get started on adding our pumpkins there pretty soon. So we have put the polyurethane onto the sign and now we're just waiting for it to dry. I did want to talk a little bit about the wood slices. Since I won't be showing the cutting process on here, you could use a miter saw or a hacksaw. And I did use this branch here for the circles that you see in the middle, so the 2 wood circles that you see in the middle. And I used a slightly different shaped branch to get the pear-shaped ones on the outside. Now, the different sizes I think will just add more dimension and it'll give it a pretty cool look. You'll need 5 slices for each pumpkin. And you're going to cut 4 of those slices pretty thin. And I left the 5th slice about 1 inch thick just to give it a little bit more dimension. Even if you do use the same branch, you're going to notice that there's going to be a slight difference in the wood slices. And honestly, that's totally fine and it'll still look great. At this point, what we're going to do is paint and then seal them. We've got our wood slices painted and sealed already. We're going to start playing around to arrange them into the form of a pumpkin. You're going to have 2 pieces starting off side by side. The middle piece goes on top, and then you've got the 2 side pieces that go underneath the first 2 middle pieces. What we'll be using is wood glue and hot glue to just make sure we've got the strongest hold possible. I'll start off with putting on some wood glue first and then the hot glue around that. If you do have any spillage from the glue, you can just wipe it off. If you did want to keep the pumpkins at 3 pieces, you totally can. I like the fullness of the 5-piece pumpkin, so I'm just going to move forward with the 5-piece pumpkin. And just remember that these wood slices are not perfect. They are not perfect on purpose, and they actually add to the farmhouse and rustic look. So there's going to be a variation in size, both in diameter and in width. And that's totally fine. Just realize you're probably not going to have a flat pumpkin in the back, but we can make up for that later on with some glue once we adhere it to the actual sign. And there you go. That's how you arrange your little pumpkin. All right, we've got our pumpkins done and sealed already. So now it's time to get them together on the sign. You'll notice the difference in these pumpkins than the first ones that I did. It's just that I don't have those lines on the pumpkins. I wanted to leave it a little bit more woodsy and rustic looking. So now what we're going to do is we're going to arrange them on the sign and just play around with the colors and what looks best. The pumpkins will probably overlap on the side, and that's on purpose as well. What you can do is at the bottom, I like for the pumpkin to overlap a little bit also. I just think it looks better like that, but you can arrange it whichever way you want. So what we're going to do to secure these on is just use a glue gun at this point. And the glue gun works really well with making sure that those wood pumpkins stick pretty good to the wood sign. Now, if you wanted to, you could also add the wood glue at this point, or if you had some other crazy glue type of adhesive, you could also use that as well. If you will be using anything like that, one of those really strong bonding adhesives, just be sure to be careful with your fingers because that stuff usually does stick to skin pretty quickly. So once you've got them all glued down, your sign is pretty much ready for the stems and the vine. All right, now that we have our pumpkins done, we're going to do our stem, and we're going to use the floral wire to do so, okay? So you're going to cut 4 11 to 12 inch pieces of that floral wire, and you're going to take it and you're going to fold it in half, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to leave a little loop at the top, and then we're going to bend it again in half, and we're going to bring that bottom piece up till just under that top loop, okay? Then you're going to take your jute cord, and what you're going to do is you're going to start to wrap it from bottom to top, and you're going to leave a little tail out in the beginning. And once you start wrapping upwards, you're actually going to wrap that tail up as well. And that's basically just so that you secure it to the bottom that way without having to glue it on so you don't get any hot glue on your fingers, okay? So you're going to go all the way up that wire part. You're going to stop just under the loop and then just go back down again and around to make the top part just a little bit thicker. And then once you do that, and you have it to the thickness that you want, you're going to loop the end of the rope that you have through the hoop, and you're just going to make a knot. Now I'm going to make 2 to 3 knots on this one, and that's to secure that end of the stem, and it's also to cover up that last little bit of wire at the top. So I'm just making those extra knots on there now. And then once you have that done, you have your stem. There's no more, you don't have to glue anything to get that rope to stay in place on that wire. You will, though, have to cut off some of that excess string if you have any. And since that's on the wire already, it's totally moldable, and it's going to fit right in the space between the middle part of the pumpkin and the sign. So we're just going to bend it over or shape it in whatever direction you want and just put it in the center of each one of those pumpkins. And we're going to secure that in place with hot glue. All right, so we've got all the stems in place in between the pumpkin and the sign, and now we're going to work on the vine. I'm going to keep using that jute cord, and what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of dab of glue and then just put it on one end and secure that behind the left side pumpkin. I'm going to take it from left to right and weave between the pumpkins, making loops as I go, just to make it look like each one of these pumpkins is on one continuous vine, okay? I tuck it in some areas too to make it look more realistic. Okay, I've already done the vine on the pumpkins, and this is what it looks like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the embellishment, so adding these foam pumpkins. And I've already cut some in half. I'll just take each one of those little foam pumpkins with my X-Acto knife, cut it in half. I'm going to paint it to match the color scheme that I have, and then glue those down. All right, so I've already painted my little foam pumpkins, and I've secured them on there with hot glue to the actual sign. The next part is going to be the lettering. For that first sign you see up there, I did use my Cricut. You can use stencils if you don't have any. The stick-on kind is actually really good, or you can find either metal or wood lettering, and it would go great. I'm going to be using that metal lettering, and the word is harvest, and I actually spray painted it gold, and it looks really pretty. And that's what I'm going to be securing on there on the sign. And I'm just going to use some hot glue to do that. Now you should be really careful because the hot glue does dry and it can be a pain. You can also use something like a crazy glue to secure that on there. Just be sure that if there's any spillage, you careful with your fingers so that you don't stick to the board with it also. And then once you've secured that on there, you're pretty much done with your sign. So if you wanted to display it on an easel, then you could do that. You can just lean it up against one of the walls. Or if you want to put the picture hangers on there, you could do that also.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We are at the end of our video, and this is what we've done. This super cute harvest pumpkin patch sign. Let me give you a close-up. This was super fun to make. It was super fun to show you guys how to do this. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much. If you did, please, please, please like this video, subscribe so you can see more videos from us, and also share the love, tell your family, tell your friends. Just put it out there for the world to see. If you like this and maybe you're not so crafty, or maybe you just don't have the time to do it, visit us on our Etsy page. The Craft Co by Lo there also, so it's etsy.com/shop/the Craft Co by Lo, and all of the things that I will be showing tutorials on will be available for purchase as well. With this specific item, you'll be able to personalize it, so if you want to have a name here, you want to play around with the colors, you can totally do so. So check us out definitely at Etsy, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram, so make sure you share all the social media love, and we're at the Craft Co by Lo. So thanks again, guys, and we'll be seeing you soon.